Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to Laguna Seca, or WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca as it's officially called. And today is, or this evening, this morning, wherever you are in the world, it is the GTE American Series. And currently we do have our AMs out there turning laps in their first qualifying session. Now this track here has got some very famous corners, some very famous history behind it, and has been through very little changes from my understanding over the period of time, and it's got one of the most famous corners of any track on any calendar everywhere, and it's the corkscrew, which is a horrific descent down, a left-hand turn, and then a serious drop down into a pit at the bottom, and then fires you back out. And it is probably one of the most iconic tracks on any corner, or any corner on any track, should we say, out there you can go to. So you can see on the screen at the minute 24 degrees Celsius, that is your track temp, so it is quite nice. That's a warm enough temperature so you can get some heat and stuff into the tyres, but it's not cooking where it's, flipping and sliding all over the place and not having some fun. So these guys here today could be trying the hardest. We are past the midway point in the championship, and today we waived or closed a chapter in another championship, which is the World Series. So we that came to an end earlier on today, but it's we are round 6 of 10 rounds, and one thing that is very surprising and one thing that I'm pretty, well, I'd say shocked about more than anything is the fact that Porsche and Corvette on this track, for whatever reason, seems to be very, very well balanced. Have you seen that, Casey, in the practice sessions?
Yeah, the Corvettes, I expected them to do really well here, but also the Porsche for sure, seeing as how it's always had that natural agility to be able to just flick it from one corner to the next. But with the Corvettes, that's really always been, the story, really. But was speaking to a couple of the guys in the Corvettes earlier, and they seem to be struggling a little bit, but, I'm sure, especially knowing them, they're going to get it figured out and they'll be right on pace, during the race, so. Looking forward to this one, though, man. Laguna Seca is such an awesome track. It's really a driver's track. You mentioned the corkscrew, and then you got the kink that's, just takes ungodly amounts of bravery to go through there the way you need to. So this is going to be a fun race. I'm really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be. I think we've said it about a lot of tracks, but the more I look at the tracks that we've picked for the season, the more I realise that they're not the easiest tracks, really. I mean, you think here, Mid Ohio is quite a difficult track. Charlotte Roval, really tight, twisty track with the big, heavy, powerful cars like these. It's all the tracks that we've done, really, and with the exception of a couple, have been quite tight and twisty. And this here, I think the first sector is perfectly okay. There's nothing really that can catch you out, but it's when you get into, like you said, you've got 3 left-handers, well, 2 left-handers, sorry, one after the other. Mm-hmm. Very tricky corners, followed by that corkscrew, which just, it's completely blind. You don't know where the car's going to end up. It's really you've got to position the car using sort of peripheral vision to then drop down, and hopefully when you hit the bottom, you're not on the gravel, you're not too far out wide, and it's quite a skill set in its own right to get that perfect. So it's going to be interesting to see who gets it right and who doesn't.
Yeah, that corner is very easy to mess up. It doesn't take anything at all to have a spin there or something, because you're literally flicking it to the left and then immediately right back to the right before the car even has time to settle down. So that is one of the most challenging corners, on any circuit in America. So if not the world. So
yeah, and it's going to be a true test as the pros we see here lining up. And we're going to turn them loose now. Track is live for pros. Can I have all pros on track now, please? And again, I will say one thing during qualifying. A big shout out to a driver that's not done any racing with us as of yet, but we have got Milan Tikens, who is a real world professional racing driver and races with racing the Lamborghini Super Trofeo series, and it's our pleasure to have him on board for tonight's racing. Just finished up with the RSR World Series earlier on today, and now he's out there having a go in our American Series with his team Project Dynamic. Obviously not donning a Porsche this evening because you are not a Lamborghini, because you're not allowed to enter those in a GTE. There isn't a GTE car in the Lambo, but he's driving, and I'm just going to find him here. He's in a Porsche, so a bit of a trade. Engine's sort of in the similar place, and there's no similarity. I'm not even going to try. There's no similarity between that and a Porsche, apart from the fact it's got 4 wheels and an engine. So, and you can see here, corkscrew. It's this. There's like a little cambered section, the first part of it, that you kind of got the car to hook up in, and then you go over a rise as you're dropping down, and that's where it can get really unbalanced. And especially if you've got a very tight car and you get to the bottom of that dip, it's just going to snap and be all out of shape, which is going to be quite unpleasant. So.
Yep, absolutely.
We are currently, and on your provisional poll at the minute is Daniel Tenorio with a 1:18.578. It's going to be quite interesting to see who can sort of better that. The two quickest times in the practice were Jersey Glack and Daniel. So if Jersey can go quicker, it will take pole. Let's just see with the sort of paces of the likes of sort of Christian Furs, and we've got James Armstrong, Calvin Dent, Tom Mustakis, all these in the pro sector that can bang in a quick lap time if they needed to. No Jeff Applegren tonight, which is one thing you spotted.
Yeah, I kind of commented on that earlier before we went live with the broadcast. I'm kind of surprised to see that he's not in the field, considering, you know, how good that he did last week. Just really hope he hasn't decided to throw in the towel on the season.
Well, he clawed in a few points in the last couple of rounds. And of course, with the drop round as well, he's not actually that far away. And looking at the points, you know, Jersey is ahead by a bit. You know, he's got sort of a 60 to 70 point lead. But him and Taylor Lane for second position are within 5 points of each other. So there is only 5 points difference between what would be second place in the championship. And obviously, with tonight, that's going to leave a massive dent in his championship altogether. So I've just dropped you a message to see where he is, and he's just put here, I'll be back in the last 3 weeks. Jeff is watching. We hope you're well, Jeff. I understand that maybe this isn't your preferred track, as I can understand, as it's some people's it's a bit of a Marmite track. I don't know, you've got Marmite over there, haven't you?
What's
know what
that?
I'm on about. You don't know what that is, do you? Don't know what that is. So anyway, to say something's a Marmite track would say you either love it or you hate it. And I think, unfortunately, on this occasion,
absolutely.
Jeff doesn't particularly like Laguna Seca.
Oh, Louis Egerton goes for a spin here at the entrance of the corkscrew.
And that will be his qualifying done, as he's not really allowed to reset. And we can see the time he put in was a 1:19.4, puts him way down the order. Jersey Glatt not actually able to beat Daniel's time as of yet. But where is he on track? He's coming through.
He's coming into the last corner here. Yep. Gets out of the last corner clean. Now it's just a straight run to the finish. Let's see what he does here. 1:18.5.
Yeah, and it's not good enough. So Daniel, at the minute, is still a pole. I don't think. Looking here, we've got Will Paisley and Andrew Hewson. Andrew Hewson's coming into the pits. He's done. Will Paisley. James Armstrong is in the M8, but he's just set his second time with a 19.035. Christian Furs, 19.057. Those lads can't go any better. Will Paisley, 19.972. That is it. That's your lot. There is nothing there at all that can match the pace of Daniel Tenorio, and he really has. He's done well with that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think this is one of the tightest fields that we've had up through the top 10. You're talking not even a second from first to 10th. I mean, that's pretty incredible.
That is, to be fair. Yeah, you've got. It is. It's first to 10th. And to go through your qualifying results here, we've got Daniel Tenorio in first. We've got second, Jersey Glatt with a 1:18.595, so just just over 2/100ths of a second between those two. James Armstrong with a 19 dead. We've got Christian Furs with a 19.058. Taylor Lane, 1:19.124. Milan Teekins with a 1:19.177. James Howard with a 1:19.180. Will Paisley with a 1:19.262. Andrew Houston 119.356, and Louis Egerton with a 119.492. That rounds out your top 10, and then going through the rest of the group, we've got 11th place is Mark Scott. Tom Mustakas is 12th. Stephen Martinez is 13th. Michael Kaluga is 14th. Eric Kaluga is 15th. Carl Fredrickson is 16th. 17th is Blake Scott. Lyon Lee is 18th. John Casey is 19th. And then Calvin Dent, who has not set a time and not showing on the scoreboard, but whether we see Calvin out there or not, I'm not too sure. And that is your grid. Let's roll over to race. And there we have it. Predictions, Casey? What are you thinking? What do you think? Where's your thoughts with this one?
Ooh. I really don't know. It's hard to go against Jersey Glack starting all the way up there. He's been really... Him and Jeff Applegren and Taylor Lane, they've been the class of the field pretty much all season. But, I mean, it's a tight group up there. It really is. So... it's not going to take much for somebody to come in there and, sneak one away if one of those guys makes a mistake. So, Daniel Tenorio, I mean, we've seen him over the last couple of weeks. He's really picked up the pace. I think, was it him that we were commenting on? He had the new pedals.
Yeah, so Daniel's dropped a
load new pedals for Mid Ohio or right after Mid Ohio. So
yeah, he put a load cell in, didn't he? And it made a massive difference to his braking.
It's certainly paying off.
Very much so. He's popped that car on pole, which is great to see. And yeah, I think we're going to see some interesting stuff. You see James Armstrong flash his lights profusely there. Why am I P3? Because you set the third quickest time, James. You're not doing too bad in that. That MA. The MA doesn't really get a lot of love, I don't think. I think it's quite... I don't know, it seems to have kind of drifted into the back set of the GTE cars.
Yeah, it's one of those cars that kind of has certain
mandatory pit stop at this one, guys. The mandatory pit stop.
There's also a lot of places where it doesn't. So... it's one of those cars where you kind of got to pick and choose where you're going to run it, I think, at least, in my personal opinion. So, but I like all the GT cars.
I'm surprised it's done well here.
Yeah, very tight, twisty track.
As he's profusely flashing his lights. As he stopped flashing his lights, thank you. I mean, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't just starting to type in a PM to him to say, stop prattling around with the lights, but he's fine now. Stop. No, he's doing it again. Thank you.
Taylor, for good measure.
Okay. Well, I'll see how it is. I'll see where this is going today.
Taylor, don't make me curse you with the commentator's curse.
Ah, yes. Yeah, it's gonna be. Oh yeah, Joe, I forgot all about that.
I'm going on 3 weeks in a row where I've cursed somebody.
Yeah.
So we got to keep it going.
Do you think it works if we just say car numbers? We'll sound like jockeys. It'd sound like a horse race, wouldn't it? Really? Yeah, we won't do that. This is the court screen. You can see there, great shot from the back of that car. You can actually get an idea of just how much it drops down.
It's like 3 stories or something like that. It's ridiculous.
It's a serious drop down. It's probably one of the... It's got to be one of the weirdest corners on any track. Yeah, really strange to see it, but these guys are going to get themselves tightened up here as they come into what is the last corner. And we have 20 GTEs all chomping at the bit. Past the midway point in the season, they're going to want to do everything they could possibly do, and now they're in to the start zone, and they are away. And we do have there's a little bit of out of line at the back there, but it's Daniel Tenorio who shoots off ahead with Jersey Glack just behind him. James Armstrong is looking, and
Christian Furs. Oh, looks like James might have just cut him off just a little bit. I think Christian just tagged the back of that BMW, and I think it sent him around.
Yeah, let's have a little look and see what happened to Christian Furs. We do have other cars off, but let's just see here what happened with Christian Furs. Who tagged him? It was. Let's have a look. It might have been Taylor Lane, who tagged him in the back.
Oh, that could have been.
Let's have a little look. I think it was actually. It was Taylor who just clipped him. Oh, what a shame.
Oh, was that netcode?
I'm not sure. I think Christian dabbed the brakes. There was another little kerfuffle in the back between Mark Scott and Stephen Martinez, which is why I saw a couple of cars going around. But let's get back to the action and see. Mark Scott he's out. That's it. The car's done. Back suspension's all snapped and tried to get it spun back around, and it's done.
Yep. Wow.
Let's get back to what's happening here. And James Armstrong now has just run that BMW right out wide as we come back to him, and he's on.
Still in the sand.
He's not even on the track.
Goes.
There we go. Get on the track, James. Come on. And tags in behind his teammate there, Milan Tikins. And again, so far we do have an AM out front leading with Jersey Glatt behind him, Taylor Lane in third, and then we've got James Howard who is second place in the AM. He's managed to pick up a little bit of go in that car because he was really quite down the order in the practice session, but he's bumped that up a bit. And we've got Milan Tikins and then James Armstrong, Andrew Houston just behind on the back of that M8. So we have one single M8 out there at the minute. Would be two if Jeff Applegren liked the track, but oh well. Can't please everyone.
Yeah, it really, I was going to comment on that earlier. It really is one of those tracks where either you're good at it right away and you really like it, or it's one of those where you're just going to have to grit your teeth and, just log hundreds and thousands of laps to really figure out all the little nuances.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. It's a it's kind of it's a love-hate track. You either really enjoy it or you don't. And it's quite enjoyable. It's up and down. It's fairly narrow as well. It's not a big, wide track. It's a strange one.
Yeah, and all these tight corners, especially here, in this first and second sector, it's very easy to run wide, to carry a little bit too much speed through those corners.
You say that, Milan Tikins runs wide. You literally just said that, Milan Tikins.
I did not say his name.
You didn't say his name, no.
You're not putting that on me.
No, no. Not on this occasion, anyway.
But yeah, it's really easy to run out wide, drop a wheel, and either spin out or lose a bunch of spots.
Milan
just
and James Armstrong are having a real little tussle there.
Oh, James is off again.
Yeah, he's
Did he? I think he just clouded the tire barrier.
Did he? Did he clip it there? Not too sure if he did. Yeah, he did. No, he definitely did. Actually, we've got a replay on the screen where you can see. So he's in the inside here, but then realises he's not going to get anything. Comes back across, but he completely knackers up his entry, runs it out wide, and that was a fairly decent bit of contact. That was.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if his steering's a little out of whack now.
He's on the back of Tom Mustakis here, so it doesn't seem to have lost a lot of pace. And look at the right-hand side of the car. Doesn't seem to be a lot of damage, but it is obviously there. Tom lets him go with ease, so James has got a large amount of work to do to catch back up with the front runners in the pro field. Christian Furs has done well to come back from that, so he's got on the back of Louis Eggerson now. But he had a fairly decent sized whack into the barrier, so that's going to potentially affect his car.
While we were paying attention to that, at some point, Jersey Glatt managed to get around Daniel Tenorio, and he's got a pretty healthy gap there. Yeah, Taylor Lane closing in on the back of Daniel here.
Well, of course, Daniel's just going to be semi in the way here because, but he isn't necessarily going to want to let Taylor go because obviously the next car back is his championship contender, which is James. So he's got to keep the pace up here and he can't let Taylor get on the back of him. I know it's a pro and am thing, but if Taylor does get on the back of him, Daniel will have to yield and allow him to get past. See Christian Furze going through on Louis Eggertson there. Christian Furze, I believe, is our unofficial AM winner in the RSR World Series, so I think he's got himself, he's already bagged himself a rig today. But if he can still do something, Louis Eggertson, is that Louis Eggertson?
He was, he was having quite a battle with Louis Eggerton there, going through the corkscrew, and
Yeah, I think there was a little bit of
they're
contact.
still going at it.
A little bit of contact as they went up the hill. I think Louis Eggerson just clipped the back of him, or got very, very close to him, and he's back through. If I was Christian, I'd not be happy with that. I think I might be putting my car well and truly in his mirrors to attempt any sort of distraction I can do. Louis cuts off the inside line there, very clever, trying not to allow Christian to get a run on him. Again, Christian does look like the quicker car, or he's on the back of him, and he's making mirrors full. And that was a good entry into the corkscrew.
Giving him something to think about, that's for sure.
He ran the car out wide and brought it in really close. He's right on the back of Louis Eggertson here. Louis has to go a slightly defensive line into there, but that's going to hamper his exit. And Christian Furze looks to the outside, but he's going to probably try and get a cut back. He's actually out on the outside of the car.
He was too far. He was too far next to him.
Yeah, he does okay, but he was just got the car all out of shape there. I've had all day of getting a car out of shape while I was muscling that Mercedes around Sebring, which was horrifically unpleasant. Spent more time looking out the side windows. But here we go with Louis Eggertson again, and he's pulled what now? He's pulled about half a second's gap on Christian Furze. And then you got James Armstrong who's recovering with a little bit of damage on the right hand side of his car. And we have Pascal Radson in the chat. Say hello, Pascal, who's our steward. This is the guy behind the scenes who does a lot of work with all the protests and stuff that we do with the series. So thank you very much for your efforts, Pascal. And then another driver in the chat is Ben Smith, who goes around hitting people. I'm joking. He's a good driver, Ben. He does hit people a lot. Don't need pity, Ali, bless him. Yeah. So this race is a mandatory pit stop race as we go to the first car. I think that's Eric Kaluga there in the Ford GT, our only Ford. We did have another one which was Sam, but Sam's not partaking tonight, and it's the first one of the pit stop, so they will need to add a little bit of fuel to get through.
So something to keep an eye on here. Daniel Tenorio's kind of dropped off just a little bit in comparison to James Howard. The last couple of laps, James has been beating him, by a tenth, 2 tenths, 3 tenths. Nothing crazy. He's not taking huge chunks out of him. But, you keep stringing laps together like that, next thing you know, you're going to be all over the back of somebody. So, just something to keep an eye on here that may be brewing in the future. These guys could be racing for the AM lead here in the next several minutes.
Well, if Taylor Lane gets around Daniel, then they're going to be next to each other on track. And of course, James, where he is in the standings at the minute or in the points, with the drop rounds, there is 17 points difference between these two drivers. And that is with including the drop rounds. So as it stands right now, if this was the end of the championship, James Howard would have won the championship by 17 points. Now, up for grabs in a P1 here is 60 points. But I think, I'm just going to check my own results here, it's 56 for P2. So if Daniel finishes ahead of James, he's just reduced that gap down to only 10 points. And then, of course, we've got race 2 as well. And if you can do it again, you've reduced the gap down to 7 points because it's 40 points for a win and 37 points for a P2 in race 2. So if he can do a double and James finish second in both, he's going to have half the gap in the championship.
Yep, and just as I said that, James has really turned the wick up here. He just took half a second out of Daniel that last lap, so...
Yeah, big lock up there into the corkscrew. You can see that front tyre's just stop rotating, and then that's going to have an effect on your next corner. It's going to sort of not really do you any favours if you do have a big lock-up like that. But let's have a look at lap times here as they come through to complete. But it'll be lap 9, and that's Daniel Tenorio comes across the line with a 19.3. And what did James do? Let's get on to James. 19.4. There's just a 10th in it between these two, and Taylor Lane smack in the middle under a 19.487. So he's literally straight on the pace of the two AMs either side of him. Jersey Glass just ran away with it, 19.246. So he's well off into the distance. But again, on a track like this, it wouldn't surprise me if we do see a mistake out of some of these guys. They're going to go around for 45 minutes, and you know, it's only one little wheel off or something like that, and you know, the barriers are so close to where you're
exactly.
The nature of where the corners are, and Daniel's just going through where probably is the most likely place to have an incident. You know, you get it wrong. Unfortunately, it is good night, which would be a big shame. We don't want that to happen, but it does happen.
Yeah, I will say that for me, that's probably the scariest corner on the track. Is that kink there? You know, before you get to the corkscrew, and you're going through there. It's a little lift. You know, a little bit of braking, a little bit of lift, and then you're right back on the gas. So if you get it wrong, it's a really high-speed corner, and it is really, I mean, you're counting your lucky stars if you manage to save it after getting sideways there, because there is no room for errors or mistakes.
Well, Jersey Glass, I think they just set the quickest time of the race with a 1:19, 1:90. No, I tell a lie, on lap 3 he did a 1:18.9. So Daniel 1:19.2, Taylor 1:19.299, James with a 1:21.3.
He must have had some kind of incident.
James he's made a mistake somewhere, and that's put him back quite a bit. Not too sure where that incident happened, but
it was the kink. No, he blew the corkscrew.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Nice. So the lap previous, we did say that he had a bit of a moment into there.
I think he just drove it in too hard and completely overshot the corkscrew.
Let's have a look what this is here. So he's going through absolutely fine here. He's coming up towards the kink. And again, I think he's got that all right, which he has. He's got that fine. Oh no, so he's put a wheel off there.
Ran wide.
Wide there. And then as he comes into the corkscrew, locks up.
Yep.
And very nearly ends his race completely, because one trip into that tyre barrier and it's going to bend everything up the front end and not do any favours. But he's trying so hard, and you can tell with the way he's driving, because he's using every inch of track. He's running out wide, and he's got to home it in, or else he's not going to score anything at all. Well, that gap now is it's over 3 seconds now between the two, so he's really got to turn the screw and try and get what he can out of it. I think Jersey's just coming through onto some lap traffic there as he goes past John Casey in the back. And we've got Louis Eggerson in the pits in for his scheduled mandatory pit stop that we have in this round. So Louis Eggerson is in the pits. He's in the pits for quite some time.
Is there something that we missed?
Happened? Yeah, no, we did miss something. We definitely did miss something. It was James Armstrong, as they came across the line to complete what would be lap 8, came across the line, got into the side of James Armstrong, all over the... he goes back, he didn't actually hit anything. So, it wasn't that he made any contact with anything. I don't think he... But then he... Oh no, he binned it on the entrance to the pits. He ran straight on. He ran straight on and he put it into the
no.
Nice. Well done, Louis. Good effort. Yeah, we just get that replay for you. So you can see here, he comes into the pits. He's on the brakes, left, right. Oh, it's not stopping. Tyre barrier there.
I mean, that's not terrible.
Wouldn't have done a lot to it. Takes the cone out. That's where the damage is. Titanium cone. And well done for obeying the 3-second rule there, Louis. I'm all in second race again. Okay, I see what he's doing. We'll leave that. Well, let's get back to it here. So we're with Andrew Hewson. He is on the back of Milan Tikins. Now, Milan obviously is a real world professional racing driver. And he'd be doing quite well if he can get on the back of Milan and send it. Both of them were really wide there because track limits.
Both of them put a wheel off there at the exit of that corner.
I've got to say, James Howard's car is looking really battered at the front. Have we missed something else? James Howard has got a serious amount of damage to the right front of that car and the right rear. He's had an off.
Yeah, he had to have had another one because I don't think he would have got that damage just from the one that
it didn't hit
showed the replay.
He didn't actually hit anything. So James has had an off somewhere. And where was that? Oh. Okay. As he's trying to get around lap traffic of John Casey, he just goes to send it to the inside. And unfortunately, John was there. And they met.
Oh, boy. Yep, unfortunately now for James, it's all going to be about damage control. Try and gather whatever points he can out of this one and hope to break even in race 2.
No, I think the damage on this car, I'm just looking here, I'm trying to work out. The last lap from him was a 1:19.709, so he's definitely lost a bit of time. The next am back to him is way down the road, and it's Lydon Lee and Carl Fredrickson, who are probably 30 odd seconds, 25, 30 seconds back. So everybody up this sector here is in pro. We haven't really spoke about, there's a little battle sort of coming together in the back here between Carl Fredrickson and Lydon Lee, and this will be for 3rd place in AM.
Yep.
Those two are pretty close to each other. Lap times, Lydon's sort of 2-3 tenths quicker than Carl Fredrickson. Lydon, to be fair, Lydon is a fantastic racer. I had a great battle with him earlier at Sebring in the RSR World Series. It was really good fun, really, really respectful. Right to the point where I think he ran me really hard into the hairpin, but we won't talk about that. I know what, in actual fact, I don't even think it was Lydon. I think it was one of the other Verve racing cars. Anyway, yeah, so it was Carl Fredrickson, Lydon Lee, and then Stephen Martinez. All 3 cars relatively close to each other, but Stephen Martinez's car looks absolutely battered. You'll see him just in the background there as he comes through in the white and blue Corvette. But that might be from the first lap contact he had with Mark Scott, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is. I think he had some contact with either Mark or Blake Scott on the first lap. Now, Christian Furs has got things turned around. Christian Furs has been a bit of a pinball again today, but he's on the back of Will Paisley, what will be for 4th place overall? Yeah, 4th place overall. So, or 4th place in pro, sorry. As he nearly... Oh, that's... I thought he was going in the back of him there. I've said his name, haven't I? I've done that.
The commentator's curse.
I've just done what you've done.
I'm just glad it's not me this week.
It's scary how much of a pattern that's being, you know. You actually think about it. It's been
4 weeks in a row.
It's been like 4 weeks in a row. You know what? Rob's just in the ear saying I said his name, and he just plows straight on and picks a nice bit of tyre barrier that he's aiming his car for. Oh dear. Oh dear. The car behind Taylor Lane has just completed his pit stop, so now as pit stops wash out, it's going to be interesting to see where these guys... Of course, what could make a big difference if you completely knacker up your pit entry or your pit exit, you're going to get a penalty for it. And that's obviously going to have a big effect on your race. I mean, if Jersey Glatt, for instance, was to get a penalty, I think, is it 42 seconds for either a speeding in pit lane or something like that?
It is pretty harsh, yeah.
But if he got the 42 seconds, it's going to put him back in like 13th or somewhere. And that's going to be a bit of a shame on his outcome, because it's really going to put him down the order. Daniel Tenorio doing really well. Gap there between the two guys. You can see with a lap difference, James Howard is really quite a way off. Unfortunately, due to the damage, I think, because the aero damage on the car is going to be really costing him in a straight line. Is half a second, which is a lot. The only thing I'm thinking now is James. Is James going to be dropping? No, there's no chance of anyone catching James.
No, he's got almost a half a lap. Between a quarter and a half a lap on third, so.
You can see, but Milan Tikens has caught up on him as well. And again, Milan's lap times was kind of in the 120s, 122, 120.2, something around there. And he's really sort of dropped back into the clutches now. Last lap from James was the 119.9. One mistake, that's how it does.
Yep. Yeah, James, he put together some laps, right after that incident. I think he ran a 19.5. But I think, the longer you go with a damaged car, the more stress and strain it's putting on the tires. And it just, overall, it becomes a lot harder to drive and a lot harder to keep that pace. So maybe that's what we're seeing here.
Christian Furse has just been going into, he's done what Louis Eggerson done, and he's just put it in the tyre barrier on the entrance to the pits. And this is something that obviously a few of these guys hasn't necessarily probably practiced, which, has probably caused these guys, maybe not practiced enough, should we say, that it's kind of a little slalom thing as they get into there. And that's Milan Tikens around. So what's he done here? He's dropped. Let's have a little look. Where's he binned it here? Oh, okay, yeah, the kink. Just completely dead sideways. And what's he doing? Has he stalled it? Is he going? Okay, so he's just waiting for someone to go by. I was going to say, what's he waiting in the middle of the track for? Is he waiting for a mate? But, James, okay. Okay, so the Project Dynamic cars are having a bit of a nightmare. Was that Tom Mustakas going straight on as well in the background?
Oh, jeez.
Okay.
Come on, Tom.
Should we just throw the yellow and have a word with them? You like go-kart? Have you ever been go-kart when you've done something really daft and they go, right, come here. And they sit you down and they go, stop it, right? Or you're going home. And you're like, okay. But there's a lot of tyre grooves in that gravel. It's lightly on the back of Carl Fredrickson. So these guys, I don't think these two here have pitted, because as their pit stops wash out, we've got Andrew Hewson just up behind him. One thing they don't want to do is lose much in the way of time in regards as their what they on their outlaps and inlaps. You don't want to get stuck behind a slow driver, because if the other guy that you was having a battle with on track, and I think Andrew Hewson was somewhere around Milan Tikens, although Milan had his spin, but William Paisley, for instance, You want to maximise on that. Let's go off. Just go straight on at the bus stop.
What's going on?
Have we set the track temp to just boil and everyone's tyres are just falling
No,
apart?
I mean the track temp's only 76 Fahrenheit. I mean that's pretty much as good as you can ask for.
Okay, Carl's in the piss. Don't do what everyone else has done.
He made it.
He made it. He was fine. And then we're back with Daniel, and the gap between him and James just over 10 seconds now. So, sorry, just over 6 seconds now. And James hasn't given up. You can still see he's having a go. Daniel's last lap time was a 120.8. Now, was that anything to do with pit stops? But James's last lap time was a 120.2. So, 0.6 of a second. 0.6 of a second he's managed to get back on him there.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to have enough time to get there, though. Even if he was able to beat him by, say, 2, 3, 4 tenths a lap, that's going to be a big ask, going for about halfway through the race here. So, I think actually a little bit more than halfway. Yeah, my apologies. We only got about 18 minutes left, so...
Yeah, we've got just over 18 minutes left, and pit stops will be washing out. No, they've got another 12 minutes into the pit stops now. So, I think it's fair to say, I don't think Jersey Black, Daniel, or James, or Will, or Milan have done their pit stops. I don't think. No, and the birdie in my ear tells me the top 5 have not done their pit stops. So we will be waiting to see when Milan, Will, James, Daniel. As I see, James is off the track again in the corkscrew. Just straight lines it, bumps all over the place. He's not having a good day. He's not enjoying this.
No.
He's not having a good time in this track. What he needs to do is sort of back it down a bit.
Yep.
Take the fact that you're in second and go, you know what, I'm fine with this. And that's it. Because he keeps pushing. He's going to
end up not finishing the race.
Which is going to cost him. Will Paisley into the tyre barrier. So Will Paisley goes to make his mandatory pit stop. Puts the car in. He's on the brakes. He's on the brakes. Oh, bang! And he really sent that into that one. And he did it again.
Oh man!
I mean, they do see the tyre barrier, don't they? They know it's there. James Armstrong's around. Why is on his car there? Have I just noticed this? Do we want to even know what's on his car? Because usually when you see crude writing like that anywhere, it's like, it's not good news. Do you know what I mean? Nice. It's like the world's worst drift. I can't read what's on his car. I'm going to have a look. I'm going to have a look what's on his car.
Talking about James Armstrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
James Howard just got the car in the pits cleanly though, which is nice. Jersey Black and Daniel Tenorio have not pitted yet. Let's have a little look at. Oh, it's because my trading paints isn't particularly working. Right. Let's get trading paints to cooperate fully with what I want it to. While Trading Paints is having a little look at what it wants to do. So out of the drivers we've got there, who managed to put it in the tyre barrier going into the pits? It was Christian Furs. Louis Eggertson was the first. He started the trend. Who else has done it? Will Paisley did it like multiple times.
Christian Furs, yeah. It's been more than a handful, but
I think we need to get the fluorescent yellow paint, like the day glow paint out, and just spray the whole wall. Because obviously, it's not. Obviously, I'm really joking. I'd probably do it myself. I'd be like, oh, let's get in the pits really quick. We don't lose any time, and there's a wall just there. Bang. They've done really well so far. We've still got a lot of guys out there. That's a battered Porsche.
no! No! Oh no!
Oh God!
Man.
You know, I would have just set that off perfectly if whoever that was coming into the pits in the background just put it into the barrier. Oh dear. I've dropped my mouse. So that was Lyon Lee making his way into the pits without any. I think he probably thought he was going to hit it and then got on the brakes. Pretty smartish. And I cannot find my mouse. I've got it. Christian Furs has just had an off. I'm just on Christian Furs and he's had a really wild ride there. He's put it on the gravel, it's gone one way, it's gone the next. He's just like foot through the brake pedal to get it all wound up.
Milan, he just went off again at the corkscrew.
Milan's gone off as well.
Well, yeah, that's what I was, Milan. He went off at the corkscrew.
Will Paisley
Not
just
bad,
sent
he
it.
dropped the wheel.
Will Paisley sent it on Christian Furs, and Christian managed to keep hold of the spot, but Will really did aim the car at the gap, and it was a send from miles back, but he didn't manage to pull it off, but it was a good effort. And now we do have a battle on our hands. This is between Christian Furs and Will Paisley. In fact, no, Christian's just pulled away from there. He's got much more in the way of straight line speed. When Will put his car into the tyre barrier on the pit lane, must have caused him some little bit more sort of suspension damage, I think, maybe more than anything.
Yeah, it
or
doesn't
aero
take
damage. But we are in the last 11 minutes of this race. That's the right word, yeah?
Race, or demolition derby,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it. 4x4 off-roading.
Just
That's some of
without
these
4x4.
guys are trying to do.
Yeah. Who can put the best tyre grooves in the gravel? Because they've had some fun. Louis Eggerson. Is that Louis Eggerson back out? Or is that Milan? Oh, Jesus.
Thomas Takas just cut the corkscrew.
Yeah.
I mean, we said it at the beginning of the broadcast. We expected to see, some mistakes, but this is, I think we've got more than what we bargained for here.
Yeah. You know what? The one positive that I'm going to take out is they're not hitting each other.
No. Well, that's true, except for that one incident that we had at the very beginning. But
Yeah.
and that was potentially, I still think that might have been netcode, but
Well, at least they're not hitting each
it was
other.
very close. Yeah.
But it's kind of how it was when it all started. I think we've got Jersey Glatt, Daniel, Tenorio, Taylor Lane, Andrew Hewson, James Howard is your second AM driver, James Armstrong, Milan Teakins, and then Stephen Martinez. Lyon Lee's dropped back quite a while. So Daniel's just doing his pit stop now. Yeah, he has, and then Taylor Lane comes out in front of him. So Jersey Glatt has pulled a 36-second lead, unless he hasn't pitted. He hasn't pitted yet. Okay, good to say. Wow. So Jersey needs to be bringing it in this lap. Next time. Yeah, you can bring it in very, very soon. Either this lap or next lap, because they've got to pit under the 40-minute. And he's in the pits now. So they have to pit under the 40-minute. And he doesn't hit the pit barrier. Of course he doesn't. Professional. If they pit after the 40-minute, then it's null and void, and then nothing will happen. James Armstrong's around again. What happened there?
Oh no.
Well, it looked like he went to go and take his teammate out and just completely made a mess of it. Damn, Harry. Nice.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he was all over the back of Milan and spun it. Oh, Will Paisley he ran wide at the exit of that corner, just about took off the front of James' car.
Milan Tikins is around again. Wow, just reading the comments here. What they say? Only 5. Where's the start zone? Start zone, Louis, is as you come out of the final corner on that run to the start-finish line. That is your start zone. You have that sector there to go. And it's not necessarily all on the green flag, it's on when the leader dictates they want to start. So Milan Tekin's having a horrible time with that Porsche. He's just I think he's just locked up 3 or 4 corners consecutively in a row. He's let Line lead past. Yeah. Probably the weirdest race we've had so far.
It really has been, yeah.
I think it's just really weird. I don't think we've had like 2 drivers off the track again, obviously. Don't think we've had 2 drivers like really getting into each other. We've just had a lot of drivers choosing the stuff that isn't tarmac to drive on. Yeah, he let him by. He did that. What is on that car? Oh dear. And okay, that's someone who isn't memeing. I think that's Blake Scott actually having an off there, and he's just locked up into the corkscrew. Yeah, so Daniel Tenorio is a car ahead of him, and he had an off going into the kink, hit the barrier on the right, comes back on in a rather. No, he was okay to be fair. He just came on at an angle and got car straightened up. What happened here as he goes into the kink? Did he? So he's on the brakes. Oh, sausage curb. Nice.
No, Milan just coming across the radio saying he thinks his pedals are really messed up. Oh, just watching that replay now with Blake. Yeah.
He's just hit the sausage curb. He's just doing exactly the same as what Blake did.
Milan commenting he doesn't think his brake pedal's not functioning the way it should be. That would definitely explain some of the problems he's been having.
Yeah, I'll go with that. He's bringing it into the pits.
Oh, Blake spins it at the kink.
Oh.
No, don't go. No, don't. Oh, boy. I thought he was going to pull right out in front of traffic.
Could you imagine?
He almost did.
I know. I was watching it. I was on his onboard and I thought, you can see the cars coming right at him, can't you?
Oh, boy.
As he locks up.
Oh, no.
Oh, dear.
All right, Blake, deep breaths.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. We're under 5 minutes to go. We've done really well. It's Jersey Glatt, Taylor Lane, Daniel Tenorio, James Howard. No gaps, or big gaps, should I say, between everyone at the minute. They're all really well spaced out. Andrew Hewson, Christian Furs, Will Paisley, Tom Mustakas, Lyden Lee, and Eric Kaluga. They're probably the two closest guys on track. Eric's done really well. Fair in that Ford. He's kind of just.
He's had a quiet race.
He's had a quiet race, but he's just got past Carl Fredrickson, I think. Or yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't mean it in a bad way. He hasn't really had any trouble. He's just kind of mind his own business and moving up the order.
Yeah, he's not been driving into any tyre barriers or going across any sand, so he's done pretty good. Oh, we said it, haven't we? Is he gonna?
No.
Wings are gonna come out the side of the Ford. He's gonna take off. And a one-way ticket to the moon. Oh dear. No, he's gonna be fine. Yeah, I have. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
If the last 3 weeks are any indication, he's sure to not finish.
There's a 97.3% chance he's not finishing this race now. Oh dear. He's doing good. See, he's got a good line. He's got good lines through there, and it's nice. He's got Carl Fredrickson all over the back of him. Gets the car wound up well for the corkscrew. Good line through there. No issues. Just don't really appreciate how low to the ground the Ford is until you see it next to the cars. I mean, all these cars are fairly low to the ground, even in the real world, you know. But the Ford is like seriously low.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 5'6", and I got a chance to see the Ford up close, and I don't think it came even hardly to my chest.
It's ridiculously small.
Yeah.
That's the phone.
Oh, way to go, Harry.
Wait, all that.
Yeah, meanwhile, Jersey Glack's just up here setting the world on fire. 1:18.9 on his last lap.
Was that his quickest time?
Oh, not far off. 1:18.802 is his best lap on lap 24, so he's been really consistent, put in some really good lap times. I mean, considering he qualified, I think it was a 1:18.5. And that's 4/10 off his qualifying pace. And I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have taken tires on his pit stop, so.
Well, we're going to go ahead and start making the server right for race 2. Race 2 is going to be a 25-minute race, which will be much. Oh, the word I'm looking for. Well, you've not got no pit stops. It's just, you know, flag to flag, and hopefully not a yellow one in between it.
Well, luckily enough, well, we might have been able to throw a caution for this one, but didn't. So, a couple of interesting moments.
Oh, Milan Tikins has just gone really sideways at the King. In fact, I don't think he even bothered to brake. But Tom Mustakas has come off as well, which is what happened there. Oh, okay. And you see up ahead, you see the smoke up ahead on the replay. Well, that's from Tom Mustakas, which you'll see just coming over in the background there. He's lost it as well. Oh dear, and he's gone straight on at the corkscrew.
Oh boy.
Maybe we don't go to Laguna Seca again.
Yeah, this might be a one and done. I mean, we still got race 2 here, but.
Oh yeah. That can go well. punch them all up, reverse them. I mean, that's it. So
Jersey Glack takes the win in race 1 here. Put on pretty much a flawless race from start to finish.
Absolutely flawless. He didn't put a foot wrong there. He deserves the win.
So yeah, Daniel Tenorio brings it home second overall, first in AM. Taylor Lane comes across the line third, second in pro. James Howard brings it home in fourth after suffering that damage, second in AM, suffering that damage earlier on in the race. Andrew Hewson, he will finish fifth. Christian Furr sixth. William Paisley in seventh. Thomas Stakis eighth. Lyden Lee in ninth. Eric Kalaga in 10th. Kyle Fredrickson 11th. Steven Martinez in 12th. Michael Kalaga in 13th. First car, 1 lap down. Blake Scott 14th. James Armstrong 15th. Milan Tikins, with all those problems that he mentioned he was having with his brakes, he faded to 16th. Mark Scott 17th. John Casey 18th. Louis Egerton 19th, 25 laps down. Calvin Dent. Not sure if Calvin started.
Calvin didn't take the green flag though.
Yeah, I don't think he did.
There you have your results on the screen. And let's pull the random number drawer up and let's see what that's going to come up with, because it is random. Where are we? We've got it here. So we are going to go between 1, 21. The random number drawer is 18.
Oof.
So 18th, that's John Casey, will be on the pole. Wow, so that is everyone apart from Louis Egerton. Oh dear, he's been in the chat saying he is going to win it. And he's finished in 19th place. And he's out of the draw. Ah, I retired just for the pole. One word. Shame. Oh yes, and he had a bet with Pascal. Oh dear, it gets worse. Right, let's get this grid sorted out and get this session live for these guys to do their best in this one. So, John Casey is promoted to pole. And then it'll be Mark Scott will be in second position. Milan Tikins will be on the second row inside, so he'll be starting third. James Armstrong in the BMW with all the profanities all over it, or whatever the hell it is, will be in fourth. Blake Scott will be fifth, and I'm going through the grid as I sort it out for the session. So Blake Scott will be lining up in 5th position. Michael Kaluga will be in 6th position. 7th will be Stephen Martinez. Kyle Fredrickson will be in 8th position. I'm going to find him here. No one told me it was random. Always random. It's always been random. Kyle Fredrickson. Eric Kaluga is starting in 9th. Lyden Lee will be 10th. Tom Mustakis will be in 11th. Will Paisley in 12th. Christian Furs will be in his lucky starting spot of 13th. Andrew Hewson is 14th. James Howard right down the order in 15th. Taylor Lane is 16th. Daniel Tenorio is 17th. And Jersey Glack is 18th. And where is Jersey? There he is there. And then, very sadly, sorry Louis, you are starting in 19th. Sure, he's absolutely over the moon with that.
Well, he did put in the YouTube chat here that's why he retired, planning on getting the pole for race 2.
It is. You know what? You're going to think it's a fix. It genuinely isn't. I have a random number generator on and I hit the button, and it fires a number at me, and it came up with 18. So Louis, oh well, it's the way it goes. Right, session is going to go live as we speak. Now, reverse grid, a little bit more interesting stuff usually happens reverse grid, and I think we've seen a couple of spicy-ish moments throughout the season with the reverse grid.
Mm-hmm.
Should we go with pro? Who you think is going to get it in pro? Bear in mind, Jersey Glack is starting at 18. There's a hell of a lot of metal in front of him.
Who was a pro that maybe ran into some issues in that race? Well, Tom's going to be starting up towards the front, isn't he?
No, Tom finished 8th, so he'll be.
Okay.
I think he's back a little bit.
What about Will?
Will's probably a good shout.
I think if Will's starting up towards the front, and if he manages to get a clean break, it might be hard for Jersey to close in. Now, on the flip side, though, what about AMS? What do you think for AMS?
I'm going to go with Ford.
Eric?
Harry Wills. You might explain to the stream what you just did.
Oh, God. Okay, so we'll let's
To top it all off, ladies and gentlemen, we're not at Sebring today.
We're not at Sebring. We were at Sebring.
We were at Sebring
earlier on. Whew. I'll just pop it there. Yeah, don't join that. Yeah, don't join that one. Shame. Okay, so let's get rid of Sebring out of there. We don't want that. And then we're going to go to... Where are we going? We are going to go... It's the same country, right? I mean,
Yeah, but they're completely different opposite ends of the country.
Are they?
Yeah, well, Laguna Seca is Southern California. Sebring is like Southern Florida. West Coast, East Coast.
Okay, so we're going to redo that. And we're going to go... Let me just check this now. Rather rush it. It is. That is right. Okay, done. Yeah. Let me put an announcement out. Okay.
Oh, and make sure you don't have any fast repairs.
No, fast repairs are off.
Louis just put in the chat, you had 255 in one.
Fast repairs are off this time. And if they're not off, don't use them. Can we still do Sebring? The answer on the Sebring is no. Sebring is no.
Sebring's coming up. That's a week or two away.
There we go.
I need to see if I can do like an AJ Allmendinger deal for Sebring. Do like an in-race commentator.
Okay, I'm just going to put a big announcement out here. So at everyone, do not join the don't go to the wrong track. Do not join session up, actually. Session is now live. Please do not join the wrong one at the wrong track. The wrong one at the wrong track. My bad. Send. Okay, let's get that out of our memories now. It's 13 minutes past 2 in the morning. I'm gonna blame it on that.
No.
Okay, thanks. I mean, you could have given me a little bit there, but you didn't. Fine. Not an issue.
130R. How much did you give me there?
Keep bringing it up. That was it. That was it there. I've just nearly joined the wrong session. Oh dear! It's lucky that they put the track smack in the middle of the beta UI, so you can see. And I've gone, see, but no, that's the wrong one. So let's join the right one. There we go.
Need some coffee, mate.
No, I'm fine. I'm good. We're good. 13 minutes past 3. Excuse me. Of course, Louis Eggerson is like an hour ahead of us, and so is a couple of these guys. So it's going to be even later for them. But they got to drive. I mean, it's okay. You can drive tired.
I tell you what, though, it's different when you get in the car and you're driving, though, because you get in the car, you get in the groove, the adrenaline starts flowing, and I don't care, even if it is just a sim, call it a video game, call it a sim, call it whatever you want. But you get in the car, and that can wipe away almost any amount of sleeping.
Yeah,
up until you're about 20 hours in, and that's a different story. But
there's I think one of the coolest things with endurance racing and iRacing, I think it is. I don't know. I just really like this, and call me weird because I probably am when I say this, and people are always going to go, "Well, what is it?" But there's something about putting your head down for a couple of hours on the sofa, having your alarm clock go off, getting yourself a cup of coffee, getting back in the rig, and going, right, okay, where are we at? And it's I don't know what it is about that whole thing there, but it's just cool. Do you know what I mean? It's just something about that. I just like it, where you can kind of, you set your alarm. You're only gonna get 4 hours sleep. You wake up, you're bleary-eyed, you're knackered. It's all horrendous, and you put your head. I mean, like at Le Mans, I think I did a stint where it was going dark, so I did the whole night shift with another guy. And then I took the car into the morning, and as I was there getting really tired and that, because I've done like 3 or 4 on the bounce, and the sun started to come up, and then there was 2 guys sort of taking over from me and this other guy. They got on pretty much the same sort of time. And it was just that sort of, I don't know, it was just really cool. It was just that really cool feeling of working together and getting it done.
Yep, and that's really that's one of the things that you have in endurance racing that's unlike anything else that you do in iRacing, where it really is a collaborative effort between you and the guys you're racing with, and it's a battle. I mean, a 24-hour race, whether you have a clean race or not, I mean, it is an absolute battle just to get to the end sometimes. So
I really
love it.
The other thing that is not so good, and unfortunately I put my team through this at the Northside of 24, is when you have, say, 4 hours sleep, and you wake up and you go, right, you get yourself a cup of coffee, and then you've had your coffee, and you're there, you're ready, and then you get your headset on and you go, how's it going? And you go, we've got 47 minutes of required repairs. We were second, but now we're 38th. And go back to bed. And you go, well, I've just drank a cup of what basically is depleted uranium with coffee, and I'm wired out my head, and not going back to bed at all. And then you just sit there contemplating the meaning of life.
Yep. I've had some instances like that in the past. You're doing good in a race and everything's going great, and you come up on, some sort of incident, something happens, and it just derails everything. And that's the other side of the coin there. That the endurance racing can be extremely rewarding, and it can also be extremely gutting. So
yeah, I mean, I binned it at Northside with 7 hours to go. I was one of those. Yeah, you were.
Yeah. And I remember you coming into our chat and telling us.
It was this thing. it was me and an American guy called Cam in our team, and we were doing really well. And we had this mutual agreement: we weren't going to push, we weren't going to try hard, we weren't going to do anything silly. We were just going to go out and pass the car over to a guy called Dennis in our team, who was just ridiculously quick. Like, he was just insanely quick at Nordside and has been all week. He's in fact, while Nordside's been going on, he's gained like 1200 I rating this week. And we had this agreement that we just weren't going to push it, we weren't going to do anything, we were just going to drive it. And I just pitted, and it was my last thing, and Dennis was coming on like within 45 minutes of this point, and I was on my second lap out in that second stint, and I came out the second carousel and I just buried it. Just absolutely, just went into second carousel and it just flew out of the carousel halfway through, straight into the barrier, broke everything. And then I've done the bonnet in. We were racing the Z4, and because the way the bonnet is, you then couldn't see the curbs. So we go in, we pit, sort the car out, the steering was still damaged. We go back around to then come back in and pit, and then Cam gets in the car, and he couldn't see the apexes of the corners because of the bonnet, and then hits the curb while he's going through that really fast section at the back end and just kills it again.
Yep.
That's not so good. But you know what? There's always good and bad. Endurance racing is a very cruel thing, but it can be a very, very rewarding thing.
Yeah. Had some really good races as well.
But of course, we've got Daytona 24. It's just around the corner, just a little over 4 weeks away?
Yep. Actually, I think we're at maybe less than 4 weeks now.
Is it It's the 22nd or something?
22nd through the 24th. It'll end on the 24th.
1, 2, 3 weeks. We are this weekend. We're 3 weeks away from Daytona 24.
So, yep, we're really starting to buckle down on that one. And as I've mentioned, off air, that's for me. That's my Super Bowl for iRacing. So,
yeah,
if there's any one race that I ever want to win on iRacing, for me, it's Daytona 24. It's my home track. It's a place that I've been to so many times, even throughout my childhood growing up, and that place just means the world to me. So to get that win, I think I might even get a little teary-eyed.
Get emotional.
Oh man, yeah.
Well,
I was lucky. I was lucky enough that I got the win at the Daytona 500 earlier this year, the last race they were going to do, and I was lucky enough to get the win there, and I did get a little emotional. So,
well,
I can only imagine after 24 hours. Go ahead. I keep cutting you off.
It's fine. I was going to say I do wish you the very, very best of luck for that, because I know how much it does mean to you, and I would like to see you win, and it'd be a shame if you don't. And am I right in saying that you're thinking of trying to do both of them?
That is definitely on the table.
Mad.
Myself, James Howard, another friend of mine, Landon Williams, and Jacob Schneider. We're all potentially going to start the race Friday night, 8 p.m., 9 p.m., whichever it is. See how that one goes. And if that one's going well, then maybe we'll start, have somebody jump in the car, start 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning Saturday, and potentially run both of them till one of them finishes. So it's kind of scratching my head thinking about that now, but that's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to it, but also at the same time, it's kind of like, what are you doing? So.
Yeah.
I think you got to be a little crazy.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Do it that way.
36 hours a Daytona.
Yeah. It got really dark.
It is dark. So here we go. It is 17:30. And
Louis Edgerton just puts in the chat, full caps, night race. Yeah, it's looking that way, Louis. So these guys are not very happy.
So we had a night race today at Sebring, and it's only fair if we give these guys the same treatment in the American series. So this is going to be, it's not full night, it's dark.
Oh,
And it was more a case
it's
so
pretty dark.
we could see James Armstrong show off his flashy light syndrome that he has in the in the outlap here. Obviously, we don't want to see any obscene flashing of lights during the in the actual race, please, gentlemen. But you're more than welcome to do it on your outlap. So yeah, we thought we'd spice it up a little bit for these guys.
Oh no! Will Paisley just got dropped out of the session.
You said Will. Who said Will? You,
No!
What are you doing? You said Will.
Oh no!
Oh, yeah.
You gotta be kidding me. Will, I am so sorry. Alright, so not only do we have Race 2 Reverse Grid, now we have Race 2 Reverse Grid and Darkness.
Well, the reason that I put this in night is because there's a very infamous clip that I remember, and it's right at the very end of a race here, and it's going into the dark, of a race between a Porsche and a Corvette.
Corvette. Yep. Oh yeah, I remember that.
And the Corvette gets absolutely murdered on the way to the start-finish line. And I thought, you know what, at night with the lights, don't know what it was, but it just looked really cool going around here. You can see there as they come through there, it just lights up the side of the cliffs and stuff like that. And I thought at night, one track that I think looks really cool. So, yeah.
I remember watching the highlights of that multiple times. I think it was Jan Magnussen who was in that Corvette.
Yeah, that's the one.
I can't quite remember who was in the Porsche. I want to say maybe Nick Tandy or Earl Bamber.
I can't remember.
I can't remember. Yeah, I'll look it up later. All right, pace car is off.
Pace car is off, and these guys are going to go green here any time. John Casey and Mark Scott on the front row. It goes green, but it's on starters' orders. They're not allowed to overtake before the line.
I think Mark's going to get a penalty here.
And they come into turn one, and what's going to happen here? We're nearly 3 wide. And he bit of a shunt in the back of John Casey.
Yep. Oh, boy.
Oh, and there's Louis Eggerson around at the back of the field.
All kinds of mayhem going on back here.
And I think your €5 Pascal is fairly safe, because Louis Eggerson just got absolutely turned around. There were 3 wide back there. It's Andrew Hewson. Yep. What's he doing? Oh, he tries. Okay.
Oh,
all right, Louis.
Steven Martinez was slow there.
Steven Martinez.
Oh, Daniel Tenorio spun out at the exit of the kink. What happened to him? I think he got a little bit of help. No. Yep. Yeah, he lost it, and then Taylor kind of got into the back of him a little bit, so. John Casey off track here, the entrance to pit road. Wild start here to race 2.
It is a wild start, you're right. Taylor Lane trying to make up some progress, trying to go around the outside of Lyden Lee. Gets it all wrong. I'm just trying to gather my bearings and work out where's what and who's who. We've got Tom Matakis and Andrew Hewson all out of shape as well. Kicking up the dirt, you can see Tom Matakis there and Andrew all out of shape. I'm just trying to work out what's going on. Mark Scott is away in the lead, but he's got Blake Scott, and of course that is a father and son combo up there. James Armstrong is in third. He's currently leading the Pro Division. And then there's a bit of a gap back, I believe, to Christian Furs. It's not. It's not Christian Furs. And we've got a report that someone hit the sausage scoop. Oh my God, Christian Furs. Now that's a broken Corvette. So unfortunately, Christian absolutely leathered the sausage curb there. As I said his name. And
I mean, it's hard to tell with the headlights and all, but I don't see any damage on the front of it. Oh no, never mind. Yeah,
no, he's definitely got damage. He leathered the tyre barrier there. That was not a pleasant angle to be going in. But we've got Milan Teekins and James Armstrong at the two Project Dynamic cars, or whatever they are today, because that doesn't look like a Project Dynamic skin.
Daniel's working all over the back of Christian Furs here, trying to get around.
James Howard and Jersey Glack have done well to move up through. Where's Daniel Tenorio? Daniel Tenorio is way down the order because what happened?
15th overall. He had a moment there at the start, the first lap or two, and spun at the exit of the kink.
He did.
He's really working over Christian Furs here.
Louis Eggerton.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I mean, it was okay. Jay turns it and the corkscrew to get it back going again. Yeah, Louis Eggerton tries.
Really missed the braking zone there for Louis.
Oh,
what's going on here at the exit of the last corner? Blake Scott was off track. Cars scattering everywhere. Oh, Christian Furs just got spun by Blake Scott.
Taylor Lane's off as well. You see Taylor Lane off in the barrier.
Yep, Christian got spun at the entrance of one. He resets the car. He towed.
Yeah, what happened? Oh, and Christian Furs died.
Yep.
He really went into that barrier. That was an angle.
Yeah, I don't know if Blake didn't know he was there or what happened. Now something just went on with James Howard.
Yeah, something did happen. What happened here? So we got Jersey Glack trying to get past, I believe that's Milan Teekins. And he's on the inside. Milan's still there. He locks up. Oh.
Oh.
Oh my
James
God.
slammed into the back of Jersey.
He's over. He's out. Christian Furs is out. I'm actually just trying to work out where to look in this race, because you've got something developing between Milan Teekins and James Howard, and something happened up at the corkscrew. So we're just trying to work out. We've got Milan Teekins and James Howard. Milan Teekins
Having a bit of a disagreement here. Milan runs off track. James works by.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. We're not going to repeat that. Anyway, James Howard goes off down the road. We've got Milan Teekins behind him with Andrew Hewson on the back of Milan. Again, brakes are glowing on that Corvette. You can see how hot the brakes are getting as they come down into turn one.
Oh, Milan's coming back on James here. Oh, he gives him a shot going into turn one. He puts James off track here. Oh, James is in the tire barrier.
Oh dear. James is off putting the
I
tyre
want to say
barrier.
that might have been retaliatory there. Yeah.
And he hits the barrier, and I wonder what sort of damage he's done to that. Okay, and they do have a disagreement, quite a strong one at that. So we are going to move on from what's going on out there. But James Howard has got quite serious damage in the on the front of his car again,
Right.
and puts
Trying to
him
work out.
right back in the order, unfortunately.
Yeah. Trying to work out where Daniel is on track versus where James is now. Not sure if Daniel was actually able to get by him here. I would imagine probably. Oh yeah.
He's
Yeah,
dropped down the
Daniel's
order.
7th overall, and James now 10th. James got some really significant damage there.
He has indeed. He's got a real chunk missing out the front of his Corvette, which is a shame. We've got Blake Scott and Stephen Martinez, the 2 cars ahead. But they are within seeing distance. I mean, it depends on what. I'm just going to have a little look in and see what sort of damage he's got. This is a replay with Louis Egerton. What does Louis do? And just, okay.
He ran straight on at the corkscrew again.
Okay. And Andrew Houston's off as well. Andrew Houston's in the gravel, trying to get the car back on track. Oh, and he's had a trip to the barrier, which is a shame. Wow. Okay. So let's try and. Okay, so he's gone off. He's reversed it back. He's obviously trying to get his angle right, but he's.
Oh.
Andrew Houston's off at the corkscrew again. Wow, it's getting a bit spicy. Taylor Lane's disconnected as well, so Taylor Lane is out of the race.
Christian Furs, which we saw Christian set there.
There's James. Flashes lights, he knows we're talking about him. Hello, James. Hello. So we've got Lyden Lee we're with at the minute, and Lyden Lee is currently in 2nd place, and Amber Carl Fredrickson ahead of him. And again, these two are having a nice little battle in race 1, or we're getting close to each other in race 1, and we're going to see what sort of stuff these two can put on each other. I'd say Lyden might actually be the quicker car than than Kyle. That's that from Kyle, was a 22.5. Lyden's was a 1:20.9. So he's about a second lap quicker, unless obviously Kyle might have had a bit of a problem there. But then behind is Daniel Tenorio.
Yeah, Daniel's done a nice job here working his way through the traffic, especially after having that incident early on. Didn't get any damage. I don't think he hit anything. Yeah, it can be really disheartening when you lose all those spots at the beginning of the race.
Christian Furs is putting, I've forgotten how to drive tonight, so I'm going to bed before I end up breaking my PC. We don't want you doing that, Christian.
Oh, no.
But Lyden and Kyle runs out a little bit wide there. Daniel is all over the back of Lyden, closes up really strongly. But he's not close enough to do anything yet. So we've got Carl Fredrickson, Lyden Lee, and Daniel Tenorio. And Daniel is looking sharp on the back of Lyden. I think that move, again, it's always he puts it off track, though. Daniel gets it back onto track without any issues. But any time you go off track, you leave yourself quite widely exposed to any issues.
Yep.
Into the corkscrew. Nicely done.
While we've been focusing on everything else going on at the back of the field, here at the front, Jersey Glack has closed in on James Armstrong. He is about 3 car lengths off the back of James as they cross the line here.
And Jersey's really on the break.
Oh, he drove deep. Oh, no.
Okay.
I think James ran out wide. Jersey drove it in way too deep.
Really
James
did.
actually spun it, and then Jersey hit him.
He sent it there.
So both of them resetting here. They keep their positions, but both of them having to hit the reset button here. And that actually, James I think got the better end of that because now he's got about a 10-car length gap now.
Yeah, he just sent it into turn one. He clipped the left rear, I think, of James, and just turned him around. Jersey's popped sorry in the chat. Obviously not intentional. We've seen Jersey race people. That's definitely not how he races. So he's doing really, really well. Actually, I've not seen. To be fair, I've not seen him do anything like that. But he's actually locked up. I wonder if that's giving him any damage at all because he's locked up. Very rare mistake. Quite a rare mistake from Jersey. We don't necessarily see that very often. But this gives you a nice chance to see the different sort of lights that these guys have got. They're nice. I'm sure they've got an actual word for them, but the back of that Corvette, I think, looks really cool with the lights as it is.
It's really aggressive. It's got a really aggressive look to it, and I love it. I love everything about the new Corvette.
We've got 3 AMs all together behind this, though. We've got Carl Frenchton, Lydon Lee, and Daniel Tenorio are all within, half a second of each other. But James
isn't far back.
He's not far back.
Closing in. So if Daniel gets held up by these guys here, that's going to give James a chance to get back in it.
What's his steering like, though? Is he off with his steering?
Man. Yeah, I don't know.
I've just gone on board. I'm going to have a quick look and see what his steering's like. It doesn't look to be too off, to be fair. It looks fairly straight.
Is that something that you would be able to see, though?
Yeah, well, I mean, from the angle in the car, it doesn't look like he's got any steering damage.
Daniel now all over the back of Lydon Lee. Not really close enough to do anything just yet, but he might think about making a move here on the braking. Lydon taking a very defensive line. No, he just pulls over and lets him go.
That's Lydon has just handed the position really to Daniel there without any major get in the ways.
Oh, James Armstrong just put in the chat, he's got 17 incidents. 18 is
the limit.
All they're allowed before they got to take a penalty. Jersey Glack put in me too.
Yep,
so
Jersey.
Both of these guys are right there on the cusp of getting penalties.
Yeah.
And that's a stop and hold. Or I should say a stop and go. So that's going to be about a 40-second penalty.
I think it might be a drive-through. Either way, it's a knackering.
Yeah, I mean that's still, yeah.
I'm just looking here. Yeah, in fact, there's a couple of guys getting close to it, and Milan Tikens has actually gone over it. So yeah, Milan unfortunately is in the pits because he will have had a stop and hold or something of that ilk. The Ford looks wicked at night, doesn't it? Look at that Ford there. With all the lights up the side of it. I think that just looks fantastic.
Oh, they do. They did look pretty awesome at night in person. Got to see them at Daytona and Sebring, their last season in 2019, and they look pretty good. I gotta say, I never really liked the way they sounded, but they look sharp.
Yeah, they do indeed. I think it's a proper looking machine. And also have them lights up the struts and things like that. It looks cool. It just looks very unique.
The other cars that were really cool, the way they did the lighting, was the Team Penske Acuras. DPIs. Because they would have that whale tail, that like shark fin that runs up the back of the car. They would light that up real nice and bright. Highlight, you know, the Team Penske logo.
And it also has got a very interesting sound to it, to be fair.
The Ford?
Yeah, it's just got a very different engine now, hasn't it?
Yeah. It did have a very unique sound. I was more preferable to the C7 Corvette. Had that nice, muscular, demonic grunt to it.
Like a barge. We've had this conversation before. Kyle Frenchson, Daniel Tenorio, very close to each other. Daniel's going to want another spot off Kyle soon. And they are on the back of Tom Nastakis, who's the pro. Tom's currently running third, which would be probably one of his best finishes.
Yep. Oh, Kyle just about drops a wheel off the edge of the kink there.
Kicks the dust up.
Tom kind of holding these guys up just a little bit, I think.
That's back in Daniel into Kyle. Kyle's not going to want to let him through. And let's see.
Absolutely not. Those guys are racing for the win in their class, so.
No, he's got no right to let him through, but Daniel does send it. He's looking. He doesn't.
Not there.
He juts out of position. He goes for the send, but he doesn't. He doesn't actually make it.
Not close enough.
And we have just 5 minutes to go, so it's going to be sort of 3 to 4 laps at the line, I think. Brakes glowing on both of these cars. A little lock up from Kyle there. Just trying to work out where it is and what's going on, and sort of see what differences this is going to make. Two things: how far back is James Howard from Lydon Lee?
He's pretty well back. I think that damage that James suffered, I think that was really significant. Oh, we got a battle for the lead. Oh no! James Armstrong spun it out of the entrance to the kink, and Jersey Black runs into the side of him, kind of T-bones him a little bit.
And how's Jersey's car after that? Has he got much in the way of damage? Let's have a little look here as the replay's on screen. Locks up, gets it on the grass. Gravel. Oh, bang. Yeah, he runs into the side of him.
James is bringing it pit road here. I wonder if he's got a meatball.
No, he's...
he'll have... they'll both have penalty.
You're very true. They will have. Now, that is going to make a big difference to things.
Because they would have gotten a 4X for that.
Yeah.
So that would put both of them over.
That's true, he has. And unfortunately, we're going to be seeing Jersey Black come into the pits.
He'll have to come in this time by.
He will have. But that might actually hand the win of Pro. No, I'll stop. I'm going to stop literally right there because I don't want to do it. Because the person that is in, second position has been out leading a race before by quite a way. It was at Mid-Ohio.
Yep.
He was, he was out there doing his thing, looking sharp, and forgot there was a corner. Twice.
I think it was more than twice.
Okay. We'll go with twice just to make him feel better. But I think it was more than twice.
So we are just under 3 minutes to go here. Waiting to see Jersey duck into pit road. Jersey did not pit. If he does have a black flag, he hasn't answered the call yet. I'm wondering if maybe he was playing some mind games with the incident.
He definitely
make things feel a little better.
You know what? That's not the case. And I can see that that's not the case. So, without a shadow of a doubt, unfortunately, Jersey Black has a penalty that he will have to serve now. But I believe what he's probably trying to do is stay out as long as he can to try and
build a gap.
and build some sort of gap. But he hasn't. Tom Moustakis is right there. Just don't get it wrong, Tom. We do not want him to get it wrong, and of course he's then going to put himself in a position where he gets it on the curb, and he's still driving hard.
Easy, Tom. Easy. Back it down.
He's in the pits. You don't need to do anything sharp here. The next pro back is Andrew Hewson, and he's going as Tom Moustakis pretty much comes across the line. Andrew Hewson is going through the corkscrew to put it into perspective as to how much of a gap he's got, and he's only got. This might be the white flag lap. No, I don't think it is actually.
No, I think I'll have this one and another one.
It'll be next lap. We'll see the white flag come out. But it has really, and in fact, James Howard might have had another off.
Oh yeah, he had to over the 125.2 for his last lap.
You don't need to pit, no.
He definitely would have had an off.
He has had an off, and that's let Stephen Martinez through. Jersey Black's come out behind. Jersey Black's just pitted for his. Yeah, he did. So Jersey Black did do his drive through, and that puts him. Andrew Hewson is the next car back. So is Andrew Hewson going to be thinking, can I put something on Jersey here?
Yeah, Andrew's not far behind. The question is he going to have the pace for Jersey? What kind of damage does Jersey have to that car?
Jersey's got a bit, but Andrew's already been in the barriers as well. So
yeah, good point.
But it's going to be for the battle of the front of Am. We've got, but Lydon Lee's caught back up with him. You know, Lydon Lee is on the back of Carl Fredrickson. And he's going to be wanting to put a move in. He's got his own championship to run, as long as it doesn't affect. I mean, Daniel's out there on his. I was going to say on his own, but he's not. They're like line astern, the three cars, and Tom Moustakis is ahead. As the clock ticks down.
Yep, this should be the white flag here. So Daniel working all over the back of Tom. Now they are racing for the overall. Doesn't do a whole lot for Daniel to get the overall. Other than bragging rights, really, but
Kyle, should I say? I keep saying Carl. Kyle, just had a little
car, there's a car on the barrier at the corkscrew.
I'm trying to work out who that might be as we get. Oh, Blake Scott. Locks up, still locked up, and
Tom comes through. He does take home the win.
That is the win.
Well done, Tom. Daniel Tenorio brings it home in second overall, and he takes home the AM win, working his way up from the back of the field.
Absolutely. So Tom Moustakis takes the win there. And did ever so well, I think, to bring it home. I'll be honest with you, I was a little bit concerned because we saw it at Mid-Ohio where he put his feet wrong, well, both feet, very heavily wrong a couple of times. Unfortunately, cost himself a win, but he does bring it home, and we do have a new winner in the series. As Daniel Tenorio is the winner in the AM class, and I'm pleased with Tom. Really, I'm chuffed with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bit of a spicy race. It was Laguna Seca's just been a really weird. I think it's the only word I can only use the word weird to sum it up. It was just strange. But as we see the results come on screen, we've got Tom Moustakis is your overall and pro winner. Daniel Tenorio is your AM winner and finishes second overall. Carl Fredrickson is third. Lydon Lee in fourth. Andrew Hewson finishes second in pro. And Stephen Martinez in sixth. Seventh is James Armstrong, who would be third, which rounds out your top three in Pro, and then James Howard with not a very nice second race, or even first race, to be fair. Didn't particularly click with the track at all. Is 8th. Eric Kaluga in 9th, and Michael Kaluga is your top 10. In 11th place is Jersey Glack after having to serve the penalty. Now he's going to be third in Pro. Third in Pro. So Jersey Glack finishes third in Pro with John Casey just behind. Blake Scott, Will Paisley, Milan Teakins, Louis Eggerson, Taylor Lane, Christian Furs, and Mark Scott. We did have quite a few disconnect there. So it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cars did not finish on the lead lap. And I believe 5 of those cars unfortunately didn't finish at all. So, yeah, but that was a interesting race from start to finish, and quite some dicey moments there. Obviously, we were blessed with having some new drivers and a guest driver come in, and it's been a bit of an interesting one. I'm all out of words for it. I don't really know what to say about the way it was about Laguna Seca.
One of the weirdest races I think we've done all season. Well, not just this one, but I mean, round 6 as a whole. Saw a lot of weird mistakes that these guys don't typically make, and saw a lot more of it in race 2. So it was interesting. It was great to commentate. It gave us a lot to talk about, but man, that was a lot more than we typically see on any given night. So
it was
hard to keep up with all.
Quite strange, yeah. And I mean, I think I'm going to have a couple of cross people for the choice of picking Laguna Seca, but it's a prestigious American track, and all in all, I think it's been one that's created some really good racing in past, and tonight was maybe not that nice, but yeah, I'm Casey. I think we're done here. I don't think there's anything else we could bring to the party. I think we've seen the racing. There's been some good racing, but I think there's been a lot of. I think it just proved how difficult, if that's the right word, or how much a rhythm and a groove is important around here. And I don't think these guys really, or a lot of these guys, never really got into it, which is a shame. But yeah.
Yeah, it really is. It's one of those tracks that you really have to get a feel for it. And it, like I said, if you're not going to get it right away, it's one of those tracks you're just going to have to be persistent and put the time in to minimize, any kind of mistakes or anything that you would typically have. So, but yeah, so where are we going next week now?
Next week, where are we next week?
Is it Sebring?
Canadian Tire
Motorsports Park.
Yeah,
another very technical, very flowy elevation track.
We're at a track that's actually very, very similar to this, I'd say, after, which is Sonoma. And, and then Sebring is your final round. So we actually only have 3 rounds left of this series. We've only got Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, Sonoma, and Sebring, and that is the RSR American GT Series completed. Rob, come out of the corner.
Thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. As always, if you like what you see, like, favorite, and subscribe. Shout out to Harry Wills and Casey Metzger for once again the great commentary on the RSR AS series. Until next week, take care, guys. Enjoy the new year and stay safe.